diner sat in stillness, the fluorescent lights flickering sporadically, creating a hazy ambiance. Elena Martinez leaned against the counter, her heart heavy as an autumn storm brewed outside. The clock ticked loudly, echoing the loneliness that wrapped around her. It was well past midnight, and customers had long since faded away, leaving only the murmur of the refrigerator and the distant sound of rain pattering against the window to accompany her. In the back booth, her children Lily and Miguel slept soundly. Their innocence brought a bittersweet comfort to her heart, but it also intensified the weight of her worries. How could she keep this little family together when the threat of eviction loomed large over them? The memories of happier times flickered in her mind, family dinners, laughter, dreams of becoming a writer. Now, all she had was this small diner and her determination to provide. The phone, ancient and chipped, rang suddenly, slicing through her thoughts. With a heavy heart she approached it, knowing that it was Frank, her landlord. She had avoided this call for days, scared of facing the truth. As she picked up the receiver, her stomach churned painfully. "Hey, Elena," Frank's voice rumbled through the line. "We need to discuss the rent. You're 2 months behind." Her heart sank further. "I'm trying, Frank. Business has been slow, but I swear I'll make it." Desperation edged her voice as she spoke, hoping to convey the urgency she felt. "You have until the end of the week to pay up. If not, you'll need to find a new place." His words cut through her, almost shattering her already frayed resolve. "Please, don't do this. My kids, they deserve stability," Elena pressed, tears brimming in her eyes. The thought of losing their home was unbearable, a wound she could hardly fathom. "Look, I understand," Frank began, but his voice was firm. "I can't keep waiting." With a heavy heart she ended the call, her breath shaky as she placed the receiver down. She leaned against the counter, staring blankly at the empty diner. The weight of despair settled over her like a suffocating blanket. Glancing back at her children, snug in their booth, she felt a deep ache in her chest. How could she share this burden with them? The innocence on their faces was a stark contrast to the turmoil churning within her. "Tomorrow will be another day," she whispered to herself, attempting to quell the panic rising inside. But despair lurked just beneath the surface, threatening to unravel everything she had fought for. With each passing moment, her mind echoed with the fear of what was to come. Yet even as darkness pressed in, a flicker of determination sparked within her. She couldn't afford to let go of hope, not while her children dreamed of fairy tales in their sleep. They were her light, and no matter how heavy the burden, she had to find a way to carry on. For them, for their future. In the stillness of the diner, she resolved to navigate the shadows of despair that enveloped her life. Tomorrow would bring a new challenge, but she wouldn't give up the fight, not while hope still lingered in her heart. Elena sat at the counter of the diner, its dim light softly illuminating her troubled expression. Outside, the rain cascaded down, each droplet reflecting the weight of her thoughts. Memories flooded her mind, a bittersweet blend of joy and longing. She could hardly believe how quickly life had changed since those simple, carefree days of childhood. As a young girl, she would sit on her porch, scribbling stories into a battered notebook. The sun warmed her skin while her mother's voice rang out from the kitchen, calling for dinner. "Elena, dinner's ready." Her mother had been her rock, a resilient woman who balanced work and love, weaving dreams of a bright future that together they would build. The images morphed to Carlos, her husband, with his boyish charm and sparkling eyes. They spent evenings together under the vast Texas sky, sharing dreams and plans for their family. "I can't wait to write our life story with you," she had exclaimed with enthusiasm, imagining all the adventures that lay ahead. However, life took unexpected turns. Bills piled higher than dreams, each month stretching their finances thinner. The vibrant laughter they once shared dulled to whispers of tension and worry, and slowly, the bonds strengthened by love started to fray under the pressure. "I'll take care of the kids tonight," Carlos would say with a weary smile. But those nights turned into weeks, then months. The distance between them grew, and the happiness of their early years faded into muted shadows. Lost in thought, Elena was jolted back to reality as Lily's cheerful voice broke the silence. "Mommy, tell us a story." She turned, heart swelling at the sight of her daughter's bright eyes. "All right, sweet girl," Elena replied, summoning warmth into her voice. "Once upon a time there was a brave little girl named Lily." As narratives flowed and adventures unfolded, For a moment, the weight on Elena's heart lightened. The joy in her children's faces reminded her that even amid darkness, moments of happiness could still be woven. Their laughter echoed like a sweet song, penetrating the oppressive silence that lingered around her. Miguel stirred awake, rubbing his sleepy eyes. "Was it a good one, Mommy?" he asked, his innocence a balm for her troubled soul. "The best one," she reassured, her heart filling with warmth as she pulled him closer. These moments made every struggle worthwhile. Their laughter resonated with the promise of better days ahead. But reality crept back, each tick of the diner's clock a reminder of the impending doom. She took a deep breath, reminding herself of the light they brought into her life. It was then she remembered her mother's unwavering belief in her. Writing had once been an escape from the harshness of life, a source of clarity and strength. As the day surrendered to night, she retrieved an old notebook from a drawer. Dust coated its surface, the pages yellowed with time. She hesitated, fingers hovering above the open spine, but she could almost hear her mother encouraging her. The urge to write stirred within her, battling against the forces of despair. "Come on, just start," she whispered to herself, flipping to a blank page. As her pen touched the paper, thoughts began to spill out. A blend of dreams deferred and hopes ignited. Each word seemed to lighten the weight pressing on her heart. Just then, a knock on the door startled her. It was her brother Daniel standing in the rain with a box of takeout. "Hey, sis, I figured you could use some company," he said, his warmth filling the dim space. "Thanks, Danny, you're a lifesaver," she replied. Her smile, genuine as relief, washed over her. Daniel anchored her in moments of doubt, providing support during dark days. "Things at work are busy, but I wanted to check in on you and the kids," he continued, setting the box down and glancing around the diner. "How are you holding up?" Eleanor hesitated, the lump in her throat almost choking her. "It's just so hard. I feel like I'm drowning." He leaned across the table, eyes steady and full of understanding. "You're not a failure, okay? Every day you show up for them is a victory. Trust me, they see your strength." She nodded, feeling the warmth spread through her at his words. "But what if I can't figure this out? What if I can't keep this place?" Daniel smiled reassuringly. "You will. Just take it one day at a time. You've always been stronger than you realize." As they shared a meal, Eleanor felt the shadows that had threatened to engulf her ease just a little. The love she felt for her children and the unwavering support from Daniel ignited a spark within her. Maybe it wasn't as bleak as it felt. Perhaps she could still reclaim parts of herself that life had buried. Under the soft glow of the diner lights, surrounded by the sounds of rain and family, Eleanor felt hope start to weave its way back into her heart. There would be challenges ahead, and she had no illusions about that, but for the first time in a while, she allowed herself to dream again. Tomorrow would come, and with it, another opportunity to fight for the life she wanted, for her children. For the stories yet to be told, morning light spilled through the diner's windows, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. Elena awoke with a renewed sense of purpose that replaced the heaviness she had carried for so long. Thoughts of the words she wrote the night before surged in her mind. Today was a day for action. After a quick breakfast with toast and the last of the coffee, she dressed with intention. The faded blue dress she chose brought a spark of confidence. Standing in front of the chipped mirror, she felt a flicker of familiarity. The spirited girl she once was seemed to resurface, whispered encouragements echoing through her thoughts. "You are enough, Eleanor," she softly affirmed. "Today, you will fight." With her children still snug in their beds, she stepped out into the cool morning air. Streets that usually bustled felt calm, almost welcoming. She headed toward her old high school, a place filled with memories etched into her heart. She recalled the sound of laughter, school dances, and the words of Mrs. Keller, her creative writing teacher. Those echoes from her youth beckoned her forward. Elena approached the school, her heart racing. Memories of her dreams from years ago still vibrated within her. Gathering her resolve, she walked inside, the familiar sense of chalk and paper wrapping around her like a warm embrace. "Ms. Martinez, is that you?" The voice startled her, instantly bringing her back to a cherished time. Mrs. Keller appeared, her eyes bright with recognition. "Mrs. Keller, yes, it's me," Eleanor replied, a smile breaking across her face. The years melted away as they embraced. "I've been thinking about you. Your stories were so inspiring. Have you been writing?" Mrs. Keller asked, her gaze full of warmth and curiosity. Eleanor hesitated, the lump of truth in her throat growing heavier. "I'm trying to again. Life's been challenging." Mrs. Keller nodded. "Life can be tough, but it's never too late to chase your passions. I'm looking for someone to help with a creative writing workshop at the school. Would you be interested?" The suggestion ignited a spark within Elena, feeling like a door opening to possibilities she thought closed forever. "Absolutely!" she exclaimed, her excitement palpable. Weeks rolled by as she poured herself into the workshop. Each session revitalized her spirit and provided a refuge for her students to express themselves. They shared stories filled with dreams and honesty, and in doing so, they reminded Elena of the power of words, how they could heal, inspire, and create bonds. Outside the classroom, life at the diner began to shift. With renewed confidence, she introduced special promotions and community events. The hum of conversation replaced the silence that had weighed heavily on her dining room. Elena even organized an open mic night, filling the diner with local talent and laughter, connecting her community in ways she had never imagined. One rainy evening, as she cleared tables and prepared for another night, a familiar figure stepped through the door. Carlos walked in, visibly tired but determined. When their eyes met, unspoken emotions lingered in the air, bridging the gaps of their tumultuous past. "Elena," he began, his voice almost a whisper. "I've been thinking about everything's about us." She took a deep breath. "Carlos, it's been hard." "I know," he replied, stepping closer and capturing her gaze. "I miss you and the kids. I've been sorting my thoughts, and I want to be part of your lives again." Just then, Lily and Miguel burst through the door, their laughter ringing bright and innocent. Carlos crouched, arms wide, and they rushed to him, filling the space with warmth. As they shared laughter over simple moments, Elena felt the weight of a past that had once felt irrevocable start to lift. Slowly, they began to navigate their relationship, tentatively, with a newfound understanding. It was an exploration of what could be, rather than what had been. The shifting landscape of her life began to take shape, filled with opportunities and support from family and community. Elena stood at the center, crafting a blend of passion, love, and determination that brought her closer to the life she had always envisioned. Today felt like a pivotal moment, not just for her, but for everyone whose lives intertwined with hers. As laughter echoed and connections deepened, Elena realized that every piece of pain was paving the way for stories yet to be discovered. With resilience in her heart, she embraced the promise of tomorrow, a chance to write her story anew, filling the pages with hope, love, and the beautiful uncertainties life had to offer. With each passing day, the diner blossomed as a hub of connection and community, a vibrancy Elena had only dreamed of in darker times. The laughter of families filled the air, echoing against the walls, which had once held only silence. The energy transformed her surroundings, as did her own heart, which thrummed steadily with the joy of reclaiming life. A week after Carlos's return, they decided to sit down together, the weight of what they had shared casting a long shadow over the warmth that surrounded them. They sat in the small booth where they had once crafted dreams from the fabric of youthful love. Now, it was time to confront what was and what could be. "Can we really do this?" Elena asked, fingers tracing the wooden table's grain. "I want my kids to feel stable, and I want to be careful." Carlos studied her, his eyes reflecting understanding mixed with vulnerability. "I know I've made mistakes, and I understand your concerns. I've changed, I hope you see that." He paused, swallowing hard. "I want to prove that to you." His sincerity surrounded her like a warm embrace. Wounds were still present, but the possibility of healing shimmered just within reach. "I need you to be fully committed. The kids are my priority." Carlos nodded, determination solidifying in his posture. "I'm here for them and for you, Elena, every step of the way." Meanwhile, the workshop at the school flourished under Elena's guidance, drawing more students than she had anticipated. They crafted poems, stories, and plays, pouring their hearts into words, just as she once did. Each lesson brought laughter and tears, pushing them to explore their identities and the world around them. One afternoon, amidst laughter and the sharp scent of freshly sharpened pencils, Elena felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned to see a girl named Mia, her bright smile beckoning. "You know, Mrs. Martinez, you really inspire me. I didn't think I could write." Eleanor's heart swelled with pride as she leaned closer. "And yet, you're doing it. You're discovering your voice, Mia." That affirmation, sparked something profound within Elena, echoing back to her own childhood. Perhaps she was not just rebuilding her life, she was creating a nurturing space for the next generation. The open mic night at the diner had become a growing spectacle, real talent emerging from corners of the community that had long been hidden. One particular evening, the spotlight shone on a quiet voice. Lucas, a shy teenager who had spent most of his days in shadows. He stepped up to the microphone, his hands trembling. Eleanor watched intently, heart in her throat. With a breath, he strummed his guitar, the first chords trembling like whispers. As he began to sing, his soft but steady voice filled the room, wrapping around the audience like an embrace. And in the dark of night, I found my way with the light you left behind. Miraculously, the vulnerable music captured the essence of resilience, uniting everyone in a shared moment of understanding. Eleanor felt tears prick her eyes, fully grasping how her own battles, once insurmountable, had woven threads of strength into the fabric of the community. After Lucas concluded, the applause broke out in waves. He stood beaming, the shy boy transformed into a man with a newfound confidence. Eleanor felt a profound sense of accomplishment, not just her own rebirth, but those of others unfolding before her eyes. In the weeks that followed, Elena and Carlos navigated their relationship with cautious optimism. They took slow steps, learning to communicate, share burdens, and meet in the spaces where their histories intertwined. They attended school events together, shared meals, and introduced their children to the concept of teamwork, fostering a sense of normalcy for them both. One night, after a particularly successful workshop, they both collapsed on the couch, exhausted, yet exhilarated. "I never imagined this could feel so good," Carlos said, eyeing her meaningfully. The kitchen was filled with sounds of the children scrambling for snacks, the din of normal life cradling them. "Me neither," Elena replied, a soft smile sneaking onto her lips. "But it's also a little scary." "Sometimes scary is good," he said, reaching for her hand. "It means we're stepping into the unknown together." His words resonated with her, sparking a deep conversation on dreams and fears. They shared moments of honest vulnerability, exposing the flaws that made them human. With every revelation, trust grew, slowly deepening their connection. One evening, as the golden hues of sunset spilled through the diner windows, they meticulously planned their future. "I think we should take a family road trip," she suggested, her eyes alight with enthusiasm. "Just the four of us. To the coast, perhaps." Carlos met her gaze, his smile infectious. "I love that idea. Freedom, fresh air, memories waiting to be made." As they envisioned the open roads ahead, Eleanor felt hope bloom anew. The life she envisioned was within grasp, filled with love, laughter, and the unwavering support of community. Summer rolled in with vibrant energy. The diner buzzed with life and purpose. As the open mic night approached, she took a moment to reflect on just how far she had come. The scars of her past no longer defined her. Instead, they had become mere threads in the tapestry of her life. In preparation for the event, she baked, filling the air with warm smells of cinnamon and vanilla. As she watched her children help in the diner, and Carlos share a laugh with Daniel, she realized they had formed a beautiful mosaic of lives, intertwined by thoughtfulness and love. The night arrived, and with each performer taking the stage, Eleanor felt a swell of pride. She marveled at how they shared not just their talents, but pieces of their souls. By the end of the night, connections forged were not merely about talent, they were about shared dreams, hopes, and collective journeys. That evening, she found herself standing at the edge of the diner, looking out into the night sky. The stars twinkled brightly in the inky blackness, mirroring the joy in her heart. Together, they had embarked on a journey filled with unexpected beauty and love, a life no longer defined by fear, but instead by resilience and rebirth. Tomorrow would come with its own challenges, but for now, in this moment, Eleanor felt truly alive. For the first time in a long while, she allowed the joyous music around her to fill her soul completely, fully embracing the story she was writing, one filled with heart, hope, and the promise of new beginnings. As the sun rose on a bright July morning, Elena's heart raced with excitement. Today marked the start of their much-anticipated road trip to the coast, a getaway to create cherished memories, healing bonds, and a bit of adventure along the way. The lingering scent of vanilla from last night's baking still hung in the air, a sweet reminder of the good times shared. In the kitchen, she put the finishing touches on breakfast, scrambling eggs while flipping pancakes, blending voices and laughter from the living room. Carlos was already animatedly chatting with Miguel and Lily about their plans for the trip, his enthusiasm infectious. "Can we see dolphins?" Lily's bright voice chimed in, her eyes wide with expectation. "Absolutely," Carlos replied with a broad smile, ruffling her hair. "If we're lucky, we might even find a beach where we can swim." Eleanor turned, the warmth of their togetherness lifting her spirits even higher. "All right, team, let's fuel up before we hit the road," she called, setting the table with cheerful plates. Amidst the bustle, they finished breakfast, everyone eager to grab their bags. The car stood waiting outside, trunk loaded with essentials, swim gear, snacks, and a jerry can of dreams. "Can I pick the music?" Miguel pleaded, bouncing on his toes, eyes pleading. "Music is all yours, buddy," Carlos replied, deliberately playful. "Just remember, we're not listening to any scary songs." Everyone laughed, sharing the kind of laughter that resonated deep within, echoing love and connection. Elena felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. This journey was more than just a road trip. It was a milestone, illuminating their new beginning, a rebirth of sorts, nourished by hope and love. As they hit the open road, the landscape unfolded in grand vistas of greens and browns. The car was filled with a mix of laughter and chatter, the back seat buzzing with excitement. Miguel excitedly played the playlist he had curated, alternating between songs that made them dance in their seats and moments of precious quiet, where they could take in the scenery. "Look at that field," Lily squealed, pointing outside at a sea of wildflowers dancing in the breeze. Elena beamed. "Isn't it beautiful? We should remember this moment." Carlos captured the scene, snapping photos of the kids with abandon. "Perfect shot," he exclaimed, firing off another picture as Lily twirled. Each click felt like documentation of a moment frozen in time, a testament to their journey forward. Hours slipped by on the winding roads as they passed idyllic small towns and expansive outdoor vistas. Yet the most beautiful moments lay in the shared stories and laughter, the little conversations punctuated by delightful snacks. They reminisced about old memories, from childhood tales to amusing mishaps that surfaced like treasures from their pasts. Stopping for lunch at a roadside diner, another small gathering of local life, they savored thick sandwiches and milkshakes that some might call classic Americana. As they sat together in a booth, bites of food shared between them and glances filled with warmth, Elena marveled how every ordinary moment spoke volumes. Every shared laugh stitched them into a single fabric of life. "Can I have a milkshake too?" Miguel asked, his eyes lighting up as he looked at the menu. "Of course, but only if you finish your sandwich first," Elena teased, winking at him. "Deal," Miguel declared, quickly diving into his plate with earnest determination. After lunch, they continued driving, the landscape melding seamlessly into a majestic coastal view. During the final stretch, the air changed, tangy with sea salt and alive with the screech of gulls overhead. The childlike wonder in all of them grew palpable, weaving anticipation through the car. Finally, they reached their destination. As they stepped onto the sand, the golden beaches stretched infinitely before them. The sprawling ocean unfurled like a vast blue canvas, kissed by the sun. "Can we go in?" Lily danced with excitement, bouncing on her feet. "Not yet. We need to set our things down first," Carlos laughed, stepping into the sand. The sensation of the soft grains beneath their feet felt like a warm welcome from the earth itself. After the initial excitement settled, they unloaded the car and made their way to a spot on the beach, spreading out towels and setting up a little area for themselves. The roar of the waves crashed dramatically against the shore, a symphony of nature that they could hardly ignore. "Let's see if we can collect some shells," Elena suggested, leading the way down to the water's edge. Miguel and Lily sprinted ahead, exuding joy with every step. Collecting shells became the adventure of the day, each one telling a story of where it had come from, just like them. "Look at this one," Miguel called, clutching a shiny conch shell, pride crowning his features. "Great find. That might be my favorite," Elena declared, heart swelling with pride for her children. Carlos joined them, glancing at his family as they roamed the shoreline. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, coloring the sky in vibrant oranges and purples, Carlos took out his guitar, and for a moment the world melted away. Strumming gently, he filled the beach with notes that mingled with the sounds of the crashing surf. "That's perfect," Elena said, settling onto the sand beside him, watching their children dance and frolic against the backdrop of an early evening sky. "I love this," Carlos murmured, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "This is what I wanted for us, just being here, together." With the sky twinkling with stars and the soft sounds of waves providing a serene backdrop, they gathered around him, curling into one another as the first stars appeared. Eleanor felt light in heart, desires coming together effortlessly, an intricate piece assembled by time, love, and resilience. As laughter mixed with music, she looked into the faces of the people she loved most, seeing the future reflected back at her, luminous with endless possibilities. In the embrace of family, under the vastness of the universe, she understood that they were not just gathering memories but constructing a legacy of love, nurturing bonds that would withstand the test of time. Tonight marked the start of a chapter filled with hope, a new beginning, bursting at the seams with life. With her heart wide open, she reflected on how far she had come. Through struggles, losses, and rebuilding, she had carved a path toward beauty and belonging. The melody of their lives was unfolding into something wondrous, precious, and fully alive. Just then, the song Carlos played transformed into something familiar, a tune that spoke of dreams and heart. On this night, nothing felt too far out of reach. Together they embraced the rhythm of life, promising to continue the journey, step by step, note by note, hand in hand. As the days after their beach adventure faded into memory, life resumed its familiar rhythm for Elena and her family. The exhilarating warmth of summer gave way to the crisp embrace of autumn, a season that marked change and reflection. The diner buzzed with customers, new faces mingling with the familiar. Yet the weight of impending challenges loomed over her like dark clouds on the horizon. One afternoon, while Eleanor prepped for lunch, the familiar chime of the door signaled the arrival of her brother, Daniel. His face wore an expression of worry, instantly alerting her to something amiss. "Hey, can we talk?" he asked, his tone heavy. "Of course. What's going on?" She led him to a quieter corner of the diner, far from the hustle of the kitchen. "It's work. Things have been slow at the site, and I'm worried there might be layoffs," Daniel admitted, his usual confidence faltering. "If they come, I don't know how I'll manage." Eleanor felt her stomach knotting. He had always been her steady rock, and watching him struggle tugged at her heart. "Danny, you're talented and hardworking. You'll find something if it comes to that," he sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I just don't want to let anyone down." "You won't. You have me and the kids. We'll figure it out together." As she watched him, determination flickered within her. Their family had fought battles before. This was no different. "Tell you what, why don't you take a week off, recharge, and we'll brainstorm some ideas for what's next." "Maybe you're right," he said, managing a small smile. That evening, Carlos walked into the kitchen, sensing her perspective shifting. "You seem preoccupied, Lena." "Just trying to help Daniel. I'm worried about him," she admitted, wiping her hands on a towel. "Family helps family. You're doing more than you know," he said, offering reassurance. "I can't shake this feeling of uncertainty around the diner. I'd like to host some kind of event, build community and support." His eyes lit up. "An autumn festival. Highlight local artisans, food, music. It sounds perfect. Count me in." With renewed energy, Eleanor poured herself into planning the event, contacting local vendors and gathering support from the community. Days turned into a whirlwind of preparations, energizing her soul in ways she hadn't anticipated. As the festival date approached, Eleanor felt anticipation fluttering alongside nerves. They transformed the diner, stringing lights and filling the space with decorations that reflected the warmth of the season. Their children joined in eagerly, hanging colorful leaves and creating a welcoming ambience. The evening of the Harvest Festival finally arrived, and with it came a sea of faces, old friends and new, all gathering for a night of joy and celebration. The scent of pumpkin spice mingled with cinnamon in the air, enveloping everyone in a warm embrace. Carlos took to the guitar, filling the space with laughter and music. Families laughed and mingled, the diner echoing with the uplifting sounds of community. Watching Daniel interact with the children, his weariness seemed to evaporate. He laughed as he helped Miguel and Lily with a game, a lightness returning to his step. "This is incredible, Elena," Carlos said softly, moving closer to her. "You've really outdone yourself." "Elena, can we join the dance?" Lily tugged at her mother's hand, excitement sparkling in her eyes. "Let's dance," Elena agreed, a renewed sense of joy bubbling within her. They joined the crowd, twirling to the rhythm as laughter echoed around them. Even amidst the uncertainty, magic hung in the air. Later in the night, as darkness enveloped the diner, Elena found a moment to step outside. The stars twinkled brightly overhead like tiny beacons of hope. Carlos joined her, wrapping an arm around her shoulder. "You did this," he said, gaze fixed on the stars. "You brought everyone together." Elena turned to him, gratitude swelling in her heart. "It felt amazing to see them all come together. I needed this as much as anyone. After all we've gone through it." She paused, the pressure of emotions rising. "It reminds me of what truly matters." "I know," he replied, voice soft. "And no matter what happens, we face it together." They shared a quiet moment, feeling the weight of their journey. Just then, Daniel appeared in the doorway, breaking through the night. "Geldner, thanks for making this happen," he said, a genuine smile lighting up his face. "Seriously, I haven't seen everyone this happy in a long time. You brought life back into this community." Those words struck her, invigorating her spirit. She realized that through her vulnerability and resilience, she had ignited hope, not just within her family, but within everyone around her. As the festival wound down and guests began to leave, Elena felt a profound sense of accomplishment. For a night, worries melted away, replaced by connection and celebration, reminding her that even through difficulties, there was strength, a little spark igniting the journey ahead. With Daniel by her side, her family wrapped around her, and hope glimmering anew, she understood that together they could face whatever lay ahead, whether the next storm or the vast open field of possibilities. As she stepped back into the warm embrace of the diner, laughter still filling the air, Elena knew that the journey hadn't merely been about overcoming challenges, but discovering beauty in life, in each other, and in the unyielding power of love. As fall settled comfortably into the small town, life at the diner began to find its rhythm. The success of the Harvest Festival had revitalized the community, weaving even tighter bonds among neighbors and friends. The warmth of connection lingered, painting their days in brighter colors. Elena frequently found herself reflecting on how far they had come. Each day, she awakened with a renewed spirit, ready to embrace whatever challenges might come, knowing that their family stood strong together. Small victories added weight to her resolve. One cool morning, as she brewed coffee in the diner, a perceptible excitement filled the air. Local news arrived, sending ripples through their small town. The diner had been nominated for a coveted award for Best Local Eatery. "Did you hear? We're in the running," she exclaimed, clutching the newspaper with trembling hands. Daniel rushed in, smiling wide, excitement flowing through him. "This is incredible. We've got to make sure everyone knows, Elena. This is our moment." His enthusiasm was infectious. Elena flashed a bright smile. "We do. Let's plan a little celebration so our incredible customers can share in this. They really made this happen." The days that followed were a whirlwind of preparation. They put together a special celebration menu, inviting the community to join in the fun. Elena and Carlos collaborated on decorations, while the kids created colorful posters to hang around the diner. On the day of the celebration, her nerves fluttered beneath her joyful excitement. The morning sun poured through the windows, illuminating the diner's cozy interior, while the air filled with the rich aroma of fresh-baked muffins and spiced apple cider. As customers trickled in, Elena stood behind the counter, a warm smile lighting her face. Each familiar face that greeted her felt like icing on the cake of their success. Echoes of laughter, shared meals, and gentle conversations brought warmth to her heart. "Congratulations!" A regular customer beamed as he handed her a bouquet of wildflowers. "You deserve this!" Amidst the joyous chaos, Carlos played a soft tune on his guitar, drawing attention and creating an atmosphere of camaraderie. Children danced around tables and laughter echoed off the walls. Suddenly, a loud cheer erupted from the crowd. Daniel stood atop a chair, raising a glass. "To the most amazing diner and its fearless leader. We couldn't have done this without you." Elena felt a swell of gratitude as she gazed at her family, the faces illuminated by joy. Her heart swelled as a sense of belonging washed over her. She took a moment to absorb everything, holding the essence of community close to her heart. As the sun set and dusk began to draw in, Elena stood to speak. "Thank you all for being here today," she said, her voice steady but brimming with emotion. This diner is more than just a place to eat. It's a home for us all. It thrives because of you. You are part of our family, and together we have created something beautiful. Applause erupted, and she noticed many wiping away tears. She felt alive, buoyed by the words she spoke and the truth they carried. The celebration continued, lives intertwining through shared moments, laughter connecting each soul. Elena realized that triumphs could be found not just in accolades but in the bonds built along the way, the support offered freely by others, and the love that enveloped them all. Eventually, the night wound down, and patrons reluctantly began to leave, each voice promising to return. As the last guest stepped out, Elena locked the door, turning to find Carlos and Daniel chatting amongst themselves. "Can we do this again?" she asked, a hopeful gleam in her eye. "I think there's so much more we can explore together." "Absolutely," Carlos said, setting the guitar aside. "Tonight proved we have something special here." With the remnants of their celebration filling the space with rich memories, Elena felt a sense of peace wash over her. They might face challenges ahead, but they had reached an important milestone, not just in their diner's success, but in the strength of their family and community. As the evening settled into a quiet calm, while the stars twinkled above as if in unison with her heart, she turned to Carlos and squeezed his hand. "No matter what comes next, we're going to be all right." He nodded, pulling her closer, their family enveloped in a warm embrace. Together they stepped outside into the cool night, the stars bright above them like future possibilities. The world ahead stretched out, brimming with promise, and together they would continue the journey, resilient as ever in the face of whatever lay ahead. With hearts open to the path that stretched out before them, they melded into the quiet night, ready to embrace each dawn.